Your reasons for listening to the show, well, those are your own. But just keep in mind that the views, information, or opinions expressed on the Tuttle Daily podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of our sponsors. Yeah, it's called free speech, people. Nobody's forcing you to listen.
Get ready for your daily dose of Tuttle.
The all-time greatest intern/producer we've ever had, of course, Tuttle. Tuttle in Florida.
From the Hobo Fish Camp, it's the Tuttle Daily Podcast.
No wonder nobody likes you, Tuttle. Everything's a goddamn debate.
Greetings and welcome to another edition of the Tuttle Daily Podcast. Hope you guys are having a great day so far. Make sure you go to my website, tuttle.net. That's Tuttle with two D's, TUDDLE.net. If you get a chance, go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Tuttle. I know a lot of people, everybody knows YouTube. Not everybody knows about podcasting. So if you know anybody that's older and they don't understand podcasts, hell, even my mom, when my dad was still alive, they understood YouTube. Every single show that I've been doing as of late, well, hell, I think probably since the beginning of the year, is available on my YouTube channel as well as the live streams. I've done 3 consecutive days of live streams. So check out all the content that I have out there. I've also been talking about how I'm, in the process of building a studio in the shed that I've been storing all of this bullshit that these white trash bitches, these pikeys, gypsies, just con artists, Dakota and Nicole, the lesbian couple that I had on the show on one of my live streams. Once I get all their shit out of there, I am going to start building a pretty badass studio so I can start doing live streams in the mornings. I think maybe I might do afternoons because I really don't want to compete with any of the morning shows because that's pretty much all that I've done is morning shows throughout my radio career. And I don't want to compete with them. So I was thinking about maybe doing Afternoon Drive, a 2-hour live stream, because I don't want to compete. I don't want to compete with the monsters in the morning. I don't want to compete with Bubba the Love Sponge. I don't want to compete with Calta. See, now that's the other thing. If I do afternoon drives, I would be competing against, I'm not competing because I'm not on terrestrial radio. So I don't want anybody to think the Tuttle thinks he's on the same level as Drew Garabo. No, I'm just trying to be respectful. So I would like to hear from you guys on what time, because once I get the studio built, I'm going to do a live 2-hour show every single day, and then I'm going to take that audio, and then I'm going to put it up. I'm going to extract the audio, and then I'm going to put that up on the audio podcast for the Tuttle Daily Podcast, so everybody can listen to that. But I've been telling you guys for the longest time, paypal.me/Tuttle on the radio is how you can donate if you'd like to help me out. But I also know a lot of people are not using PayPal. So I ended up creating a Cash App. I know that sounds redundant, Cash App. But if you would like to donate anything and you have a Cash App, you can do that. Just search Tuttle on the radio. And I got my picture up there. It's the same bio that I have on all my other social media accounts. So you don't think it's like some fake Tuttle. So you won't get caught up. So I don't want anybody to think like I'm panhandling or anything. Because I do have a brand new sponsor on board. IanHannahHomes.com. And I'm going to be playing his brand new spot that my good friend, Amy Senha, she's the female that I interviewed. She's a really, really good friend of mine. I talk to her every single day through on WhatsApp because I'm sure it would be through the roof internationally to talk to her on the phone. So we use WhatsApp. And she did a great spot for Ian. and I can't wait for you guys to hear it. So go to IanHannahHolmes.com and check it out. He serves everywhere from Flagler, Brevard, and Volusia County, and he's a really, really great dude. And if you're looking for a new home, you need to check him out. The first story that I want to get into, and I'm not saying what this guy did was right, but I also think it's kind of like a little bit of a commentary on how poorly teachers are paid in the state of Florida. Well, hell, all across the country. You know, we've been having this debate here in the state of Florida because our asshole governor does not want to protect the teachers that are already underpaid. Most of the teachers that are out there teaching our youth are older, so they have a little bit more health concerns. But the governor just doesn't give a fuck, even though they're underpaid, and they also have to spend their own money for supplies, because a lot of these students can't afford pencils, papers, backpacks, whatever it may be. But I also think what this teacher did was pretty bad, but I can also kind of understand.
Citrus County School District officials say they're investigating the serious charges against this middle school teacher. Sheriff Mike Prendergast tells 8 on Your Side Jeffrey Brake had the intent to distribute 3 dangerous drugs.
This teacher had fentanyl ready to distribute and peddle.
It's not the first day of school photo a parent wants to see, a middle school teacher's mugshot.
Folks like Mr. Brake, they've got no place in society.
If I'm just being honest, this guy watched a little bit of Breaking Bad. I mean, we all liked Walter White, right? I mean, he was a high school teacher. He got cancer. He didn't have really, really good insurance because teachers in our country, they get completely screwed over. And we wonder why we are just lacking when it comes to the rest of the other countries, is because that we don't pay our teachers enough. We completely disrespect them, and we really don't care much about them. I mean, that is exactly how we teach or treat our educators here in our country.
They need to be in jail. They need to get off of these drugs. That's why we have a behavioral health unit in the Citrus County Sheriff's Office.
Deputies say they arrested 52-year-old Jeffrey Brake Monday evening after serving 2 search warrants at his home in Dunellen.
The detectives expected to find some trafficking amounts of methamphetamine and perhaps some other illegal narcotics. We were a little bit shocked to find that he had such great quantities of 3 different drugs, to include that very deadly drug, fentanyl.
See, I mean, that is where I have a problem. I mean, the meth and the other stuff, I mean, that is just just what just happens in the state of Florida. But this fentanyl, I have buddies that have had friends that have 4 of them have been killed by this fentanyl. I don't know if you guys saw this story about this rookie deputy that was in training, and they stopped this guy, and this guy came across this white substance. He opened it up. I mean, this is how powerful this drug is, that even if you get it on your skin, they have body cam footage of this guy opening it up, just getting a little bit on his skin. He collapsed and almost died. They had to give him Narcan just to save his life, and that was touch and go even after they gave that to him. So what I'm trying to say is that the fentanyl, we got to get that off the street. You know, I mean, for the most part, I really, really do feel like if people want to do drugs, as long as you're not robbing and stealing to pay for your habit, and you're not committing crimes to be able to do it, I mean, you're a grown adult. And if you want to do drugs, that's on you. You know what? If you want to go kill yourself, and I know that I sound like a hypocrite because I've done a lot of drugs in my life. I've done a lot of alcohol. I've done a lot of things that I should not have done. and I'm lucky to be alive, but never in a million years would I ever think about doing fentanyl.
Deputies say they found meth, heroin, and more than 4 grams of that synthetic opioid.
Fentanyl is no joke. It's very deadly, and we've got just a tremendous amount of it hitting the state of Florida right now.
8 on Your Side has learned Brake has worked for Citrus County Schools since August 2001.
This is just a little bit of a hypothetical question. You know, would you rather have a teacher that was a drug dealer or a teacher that was a pedophile? And it's just a serious question. And I love to get interaction from you guys. I love to hear your opinions because, like, I could be way off basis when it comes to some of the things that I say and do on this show. And if you guys would like to call me out or correct me, I would seriously, I love to have my opinion changed. And if you would like to do that, you can email me, tuttle@gmail.com, or leave me a voicemail, 407-270-3044. And the question is, would you rather have a teacher that was a drug dealer, but he wasn't dealing to the students, or would you rather have a pedophile teacher educating your children? I would love to hear from you. Please email me, tuttle@gmail.com, or 407-270-3044.
Superintendent Sam Himmel said in a statement, all employees go through an FBI Level 2 background screening. We will work to the fullest extent with the Citrus County Sheriff's Office as this investigation continues.
Right now, there's no evidence whatsoever to indicate any of these drugs were introduced into the schools, but the investigation has still got a long ways to go before we get to the end of this.
Okay, look, I'm not trying to say that what the guy was doing was right, but I mean, at least he was not selling it to the kids. I don't know, maybe he was a middle school or a high school teacher. At least he wasn't like, hey, Jimmy, yeah, you're kind of failing history class. Would you like to buy some fentanyl? Would you like to buy some heroin? What about some methamphetamines? It might help you concentrate and get better at studying and might raise your grades. No, he wasn't doing anything like that. So, I mean, what I'm trying to say is, as long as he wasn't bringing it into the classrooms, and he wasn't trying to sell it to kids or trying to push it on kids, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of pedophiles that have been hooking up with our youths in our state of Florida that they haven't been catching. I don't know how I feel about it. That's why I wanted to hear from you guys.
And tonight, Brake is being held in the county jail on a combined bond of more than $40,000. The sheriff tells me he anticipates this arrested teacher will face additional criminal charges. Reporting in Citrus County, I'm Justin Shecker, 8 on Your Side.
Anyways, I just wanted to start that out. I know that, like I said, I'm not trying to be a shock jock or anything like that. I mean, I'm glad that the guy got busted because fentanyl has killed so many people. I don't even understand. Why do we need a drug that's like 100 times more potent than heroin or like OxyContin and stuff? I mean, we kind of need to look at the pharmaceutical companies, the ones that and I've also said this. I also do think these pharmaceutical companies are in bed with the rehab facilities, because you realize I saw a documentary, and the full treatment of somebody that wants to check into rehab, that first 60 days, the first 30 days is going through the physical withdrawals, and then the next 30 days is, kind of working on the mental state, and then you're on an outpatient stuff, and then when it's all said and done, your insurance is like being charged $300,000. And I think they said that the success rate when it comes to these treatment centers is less than 10%. and they compared it to being like a mechanic. You know, a mechanic wants to do just a good enough job where they get your car running and you trust them so they come back to you, but you don't want to do such a great job that their car doesn't have any problems so they don't have to come back to you. So it's like a fine line. It is just like a Tijuana butt fuck. And just look that up. Google Tijuana butt fuck, and you'll get what I'm talking about. Gonna take a quick break. When I come back after the break, I got the one and only Charlie Alaimo joining me, and we're gonna kind of just mix it up and talk some shit. Be back in a few minutes. You are listening to the Tuttle Daily Podcast.
Great news, folks. You now have the chance to see the face in front of that sexy voice. Right you are, sir. The Tuttle Daily Podcast streams Monday to Friday on YouTube. Anything can happen at the Hobo Fish Camp. Okay, sir. That's enough. Okay, so go to youtube.com/Tuttle. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell button so you're notified anytime Tuttle goes live. Good job, sir.
If you're in the market to buy or sell a home in Volusia, Brevard, or Flagler counties, you need to reach out to Ian Hanna at ianhannahomes.com. On his site, you can learn more about Ian's use of premium photography and aggressive marketing to sell your home quickly and painlessly. So if you're a first-time buyer and not sure where to start, connect with Ian at ianhannahomes.com.
Questions? Comments? Concerns? Compliments? Or do you just want to tell Tuttle to fuck off? In any event, contact Tuttle. Tuttle@gmail.com. It's, Tuttle with 2 Ds, dumbass.
Welcome back to the Tuttle Daily Podcast. Make sure you go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Tuttle. I've done a live stream the last 2 nights, and I want to do one with my next guest. I don't even want to call him a guest. He's like a part of the show. He is a part of the show. The one and only Charlie Alaimo. Charlie, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing great. I actually caught those live streams that you've been doing. They're pretty I don't know. It's very interesting, especially the one about the chicks that scammed you. I still hope that you go through the shed. I think that'd be a great episode.
I am, dude. So I wanted to get your take on that though. I found those credit cards. I think they're stolen, but the sheriff's officer was like, "Oh, somebody could have, let them use it or whatever." I'm not going to take it. I'm like, "No, I want you to document this because I don't want to get hemmed up on having a bunch of stolen property in my shed."
Doesn't that just seem odd to you? It's 2 chicks. It's not their cards at all. They don't even care. They don't even want to fill out any paperwork is what it seems like. They don't want to do any sort of documentation on it. It seems very lazy.
Anyways, I mean, he said, set a date. And for the most part, I'm going to go through and I'm going to video everything that's in there. I'm going to lay it out all nice and neat.
You should, it's evidence in a courtroom.
Yeah, but if there is stolen stuff there and somebody sees what is in there and they can prove that it is theirs, I'm more than happy to give it back to them.
How great would it be if the Tuttle Daily Podcast video edition reunites stolen merchandise with their owner? That would be huge.
There's 3 brand new surfboards in here. What are 2 lesbian, homeless, white trash bitches doing with 3 brand new surfboards? They don't even have wax on them.
They ripped off the Diacos?
I have no idea, man, but it just, I really do think I can recoup my money and actually profit off of this stuff if nobody does claim it.
Well, I think it's still insane that they just planned on leaving this shit there for as long as they can and then coming back whenever they want to pick stuff out. The whole them leaving stuff there is still just another layer to this whole cluster F of a scenario.
Well, they basically, pulled the wool over my mom's eyes. We're all nice to her and stuff, because my mom never had daughters, so having another woman around or women around, they and I warned them because I was suspicious. I said, look, I don't care what you do, but if you steal from me, it's going to be a problem. And they did steal from me. And they're, I don't understand. They knew that I had all their stuff. And why would they rip me off for the money that they did?
Well, that I don't know why the hotel didn't stop. This is the
See,
only hotel ever that just kept charging a room. I lived in a motel for a while, and they would come in when I paid for my week or whatever. They would come the day before and make sure that I was staying the next day or not. They wanted to make sure that they, were going to charge me or they're going to throw me out on my ass. They never ran a card without consent or anything like that. And this is shady motels. You'd think that a legitimate one would actually not do that, but
well, I'm not gonna say what type of people own this Motel 6.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but like, why am I even signing for the room if they are not gonna call me and say, hey, is it okay for us to charge this? Because I left my number, I signed, I gave them my ID. So why should anybody else be able to say, oh, we're staying another night?
They're just racking. Thank God we live in a time with cell phones. So could you imagine what the phone bill would have been?
Yeah, man. So that ended up happening. I had my court date yesterday. Luckily, they told me, hey, we're not going to need you. It's already been closed. And I was like, thank God, because the judge was being really heavy handed.
Was he coming down with the full force?
Mm-hmm.
Well, sometimes they do that.
I mean, he was. And I did put up a Gator flag in the background because I found out he graduated from the University of Florida Law College.
Oh, yeah, might as well out a little bit.
I did research on the judge, but man, none of these guys really gave a fuck about what they looked like when they were on the Zoom appearing in front of a judge.
No, I bet that guy, he's trying to hide the golf course in the background. He's meeting the clubhouse. All right, I got three court cases I got to run through real quick, and then I can hit 9.
Yeah, it was really, really weird. That was a weird experience, but there were some stories that I wanted to bring up to you. Now, I don't understand why they do this, but I was always suspicious about Robin, not Robin Quivers, but Robin from Batman and Robin.
Okay.
Now DC is saying, oh, well, he's bisexual now. I don't understand, like, why. It's just, matter of fact, I think it was just a ploy by DC. It was like, all right, our comics are really sucking. The movies are sucking. What can we do to, kind of get a new audience?
Well, if anybody saw Batman Forever or that last one, Batman and Robin, they would know that Batman's bi because Chris O'Donnell played him like he was.
I saw a movie the other day that I had not seen in a really, really long time. Once again, we're already back on movies.
See?
Chris O'Donnell, it was one of the who is the guy that wrote all the Law films? Like A Time to Kill, all that stuff. Was that
Grisham?
Yeah, it was Grisham.
Yeah.
The movie The Chamber, it had Gene Hackman and Chris O'Donnell in it. Did you ever see that?
Yeah, younger Chris O'Donnell, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I have seen that. That was a good movie. Artie was in a movie with Chris O'Donnell too.
What movie was that?
The one where Chris O'Donnell's got to find a wife in like 24 hours or some shit.
Oh, yeah. Man, I gotta tell you. Now, I didn't realize that Gene Hackman has been out of acting for 17 years. He has not done a movie in 17 years.
Do you know what movie killed his career?
Welcome to Mooseport was his last one he did.
Yep. After that movie came out and it flopped, he just said, I'm done. But I mean, he was a great actor. That movie was fucking terrible. Who takes a movie with Ray Romano?
Yeah, it was really, really bad. What do you think is Gene Hackman's best movie?
Probably The French Connection. That's my favorite movie.
What about he did Runaway Jury, didn't he? Remember the one that had John Cusack where he like embedded himself into a jury?
Yes.
Because he was wanting to do something about gun control and stuff.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was Runaway Jury.
And a lot of what is your favorite like lawyer, like courtroom type movie?
Well, it's probably like everybody's The Lincoln Lawyer. You're like, what? No, nobody liked that movie.
Well, I mean,
My Cousin
McConaughey.
Vinnie.
What's that?
My Cousin Vinnie.
Yeah, My Cousin Vinny is up there. But I mean, I will stop and watch it.
Legitimate
Yeah.
acting.
A Time
lawyer
to Kill.
movie.
A Time to Kill is one of my favorite.
Yeah, that's a good one. I liked the lawyer scene in Scent of a Woman.
Oh yeah.
Blind
Well,
Pacino.
what about the Rainmaker? Did you ever see that one with Matt Damon?
No, but I thought that they were going to reboot that and combine Rain Man and Rainmaker.
Yeah. Now that's also another person. Everybody wants to talk about Dustin Hoffman. He's had a few good roles, but man, he's been in some really crappy movies.
What are you saying? Outbreak wasn't good?
No, that was a good one. That's definitely one of his good ones. Tootsie, good movie.
I guess it was the first crossover cross-dressing movie.
But I mean, Rain Man is that's the top for him, right?
I thought people loved him from The Graduate and younger Hoffman.
Oh, Mrs. Robinson, yeah.
I thought Lenny was good. It was just a long movie. And you get to see frontal nudity at the end of it.
Lenny, wait. What was Lenny was from Rain Man, right?
No, Lenny was when he played Lenny Bruce.
Okay. Yeah. But then he started doing he kind of sold out. He did all the Meet the Focker movies and stuff like that.
That's embarrassing too, because the last two sucked. The Meet the Parents, the first one was pretty funny.
Yeah. My dad,
it just kind of went downhill.
My dad used to hate De Niro.
Really?
Well, just because my dad was MAGA, and the way De Niro would
he does blow with the wind, that guy. But you know what? He's another guy too. I remember when Shia LaBeouf came out and said that Robert De Niro sucked in like the mid 2000s or whatever, like 2010 or something, and people got all up in arms about it. And I remember going, why would he say something like that? And then as years gone by, you're just like, Robert De Niro kind of does suck. He's hitting a point in his life where he's done way more bad movies than he's done good movies.
Did you ever see the De Niro movie he did with Eddie Murphy? Showtime. Remember
horrible.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
That was not good. He did a bunch of not good movies. He did one with a young James Franco I watched the other night, City by the Sea, where James Franco breaks into a vet and he's stealing like horse tranquilizers or some shit. It was not a good movie. Francis Normadue's in it too, from Fargo.
Now, what do you, if you had to say, what would be your top De Niro movie? Would it be Casino or Goodfellas?
Actually, I'm going to have to say King of Comedy. I just watched it again. I forgot how great that movie is.
Wait, him when he was a stand-up, right?
Yeah, where he kidnaps Jerry Lewis.
Yeah.
That's a great movie.
I completely forgot about that.
I would have to say The Irishman. You're like, what? No, nobody liked that long-ass movie that they should have
made that was way too long.
Years ago.
Do you realize, like, I had to watch that on Netflix, and that ate up, like, probably 20 gigabytes worth of data.
Oh yeah,
because it was before I had Wi-Fi here, and it was just so goddamn long.
It was long for a movie that didn't really have a lot of good parts. I went back and rewatched it because I was like, I gotta get through.
I got 4 hours to kill.
Yeah, I got nothing to do and a whole bag of grass to smoke. I might as well sit here and watch old Al Pacino and old fucking Robert De Niro run around on the screen. The only person that you were basically watching it for was Joe Pesci. People wanted to see what he looked like after all these years.
Well, I mean, what did you think of the de-aging process that they used?
Oh, it was horrible. Didn't they do that too with that Will Smith movie where he like fought himself?
Gemini Man or something?
That movie was crap too.
Yeah,
and not because Will Smith was in it, because Will Smith is a guy who I don't think is a very good actor, but he's been like, I thought his Ali was good. That movie was good.
6 Degrees of Separation was like his first movie, and it was great.
It was on the other day. I sat down and caught the tail end of it. I forgot that he was in that movie. Yeah. He looked,
and for your first movie to be a rapper, to go from French Prince of Bel-Air to your first role as, being a gay man, in the movie, like, is a big risk, right?
I would think so. I mean, it wasn't like he was some kind of hardcore thug rapper. He was singing "Parents Just Don't Understand." So, I mean, if anybody's going to make that transition, I think he would have been the easier one to do that than like Ice-T or something. But Ice-T did play a kangaroo in Tank Girl. So, what are you going to do?
Well, yeah, I saw that Stern interview, and he said he got paid like over $1 million for that or something. I think
that fucking prosthetic shit, I bet, was a pain. Remember when Jim Carrey did The Grinch and he complained about having to wear like the contacts and the whole garb that he had to dress up as?
Yeah, but if I'm just being honest about Jim Carrey, I think after he did the Andy Kaufman movie, Man on the Moon or whatever, he started taking himself too seriously as like a method actor. Like, do you get what I'm saying?
Yes, I agree with you in that he tried to be too dramatic too. He did those like Mr. Majestic. He did a bunch of bad movies, and then yeah, I heard, it'll be funny in a couple years. It'll come out. Dan Marino will come out and go, "Yeah, Jim Carrey was in character the entire time on Ace Ventura. It was a pain in the ass. He never did give me any of that gum."
Loser.
Yeah, wait till he does that again, and it's not funny because now it's PC Jim Carrey. Somebody will back up the Brinks truck and they'll end up making another Ace Ventura down the road.
Like, they're going to finally finish the trilogy of Ace Ventura.
Yeah, Ace Ventura, the movie's killed.
I mean,
is dead.
I mean, what was the one that he did with Jeff Daniels? God damn it.
Dumb and Dumber?
Yeah, Dumb and Dumber. Okay. Now, that was at the time, it was a pretty classic comedy. I think it was.
It is. I still think it's good. The problem was that they had people that when they go to write the second one, that shoehorn in a bunch of shit and they don't make it about the characters anymore. They just rely on old jokes that people have heard. And that's the worst. Like Kevin Smith does it too, man, and it's terrible. It's like, dude, why are you ruining your own franchise? Go write something new. Are you not creative? You can't come up with new characters. You got to ruin old ones that people love.
It almost makes me think like somebody else is like writing his shit and like he pissed them off and like he's having to actually write his own stuff now.
I don't know. I think in the Kevin Smith case, I think he just takes on too much. Isn't he involved with all this comic book crap and writing movies? And now they're doing Clerks 3. And it's like, do we really need Clerks 3? I don't think so. I only like the first one.
Yeah. This other story that came out, and I want to see how you feel about this. And actually, I think this is a good thing. I really do, because there is a lot of white trash out there, but the number of white people in the U.S. has declined for the first time in history, while Hispanics and Asian populations grew, according to the new census report.
See, that's interesting that Asian population grew. A Hispanic one I could kind of see, because that's always been on the rise, it seems like. But Asian is making a comeback, which is nice to hear.
Yeah, for the first time in U.S. history, the number of white people in the nation is expected to show a decline when racial breakdowns of the 2020 census are reported this week. The data set to be released on August 12th will reveal how much the ethnic and racial makeup of the nation has shifted. Well, I mean, a lot of that stuff could be made up as well, too. I mean, yeah. Who really, really knows?
And they're using the 2020 census? I don't remember anybody coming around to fill out 2020 census.
Yeah, census.
Yeah. I guess it would be
census.
Yeah.
For 5 years now, updates on the U.S. Census Bureau has estimated that the white population was shrinking and that all population growth has been from minorities.
Interesting.
Now, I know for the fact that, a lot of people want to say, oh, well, Hispanics have a lot of kids. No, you know what? White people do as well, too. There's a lot of white trash that probably has like 9 or 10 different baby mamas from like a couple of different, like 10 kids,
not
5 different mamas.
Even if Hispanic people do have big families, they're all hard workers. It's not like the white trash side where it's like, just keep crapping out kids so we can get more checks from the government.
Well, yeah. See, I
trash is the worst when it's white trash and you see a giant family, you can just tell, all right, disability. They're never going to work.
But yeah, no, you're right though. I learned this growing up in DeLeon Springs because actually white people were the minority in the city that I grew up in because the city nearby is the fern capital of the world. And a lot of Mexicans come down and they all work together, but they do work and they pull their money together. Like the father, the head of the household, all the money goes to him, and he uses it to help provide for the family, and that's the way that it's always worked.
That's old school, like back in the 1800s type stuff, where the head of the household got on the money and then it was distributed down. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot better than these, like I was saying, than these white trash people just having kids and then letting them. They go to Target or whatever and they let them run around like it's a goddamn jungle gym.
What really pisses me off? I go to this gas station all the time because I live in such a little bitty town, and even in the dollar store or the Sunoco I go to.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is it a Sunoco? Guilty.
Yeah. People bring their dogs and shit inside the store, and I don't want to be that guy. Like, I don't say anything, but in my head the whole time I'm just like, what the fuck? I mean, seriously, and they got their.
One worse. People were doing it where I worked, dude. They would bring them into where I worked, and I worked at TJ Maxx. I can say now because I don't work there. And I was like, why are you bringing your dog into a retail store? Granted, it's allowed. Customers were allowed to, but employees. Then they would take it one step further. If you didn't pet their dog, they act like you were like shaming them or some shit. I had it happen multiple times, and finally I had to go, look, I was bit a couple times by dogs. I don't want to touch your dog. I don't care how friendly it is. I have a problem with animals, and I don't want to pet it. You got a nice dog. It listens. That's cool. I'm not guilting you about your dog, but I don't want them in places that they wouldn't, that they shouldn't be at. And then you get the oh, it's a service animal. You're like, no, it's not.
You can buy those anywhere. You can buy those vests anywhere.
People forge that crap all the time. Yeah, vests. My dog is in a vest. That means he's a service animal. No, that just means your dog is dumb and will wear a vest.
Yeah, no, I remember one of the a girl I was dating in Tampa. She was like house sitting for her father, and I was staying with her while her father was gone. And the pit bulls, they had two pits, okay?
Jesus.
And I was sleeping in one room because I had to get up so early in the morning. And she was coming to tell me good night. She gave me a hug, but the dog got in between us, and I pushed the dog's head, which was a mistake, and that fucker bit the piss out of me.
Yeah, I think you were on the Sponges show when that happened, right?
Yep. Yeah, it bit the fuck out of me.
Dude, it's not. I had breaking up a dog fight, and people were like, why'd you break up a dog fight? That's stupid. Well, when your niece is like 2 feet away from it, I would rather have gotten bit like that happened than her getting bit and being scarred up, a poor little girl being scarred up for life. Anyway, I looked down, the tip of my finger's hanging on by a thread, broke the tip of my finger. The bone was all jacked up. So I'm like, I'm not a dog person anymore. I'm not going to be the first one running up to pet your animal. And quite frankly, I don't even want to be around your dog.
And if it is a service animal, there's this whole thing. You're not supposed to pet a service animal as it is.
Or give them treats or do anything like that because the owner is supposed to do that for rewarding and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a whole other thing. And you can tell what animals are legitimately service animals and what are just some lady wanting to bring her little dog inside a store.
Yeah, it just really pisses me off. And then while you're trying to keep your dog under control, I don't need you to ask questions like how new the roll of lotto tickets are.
Yeah,
because like some people
back there.
Yeah, because they think if it's a new roll, like the lottery always puts the good ones right at the beginning. No, they probably mix it up a little bit,
Standing there clutching your $20 bill, like, I just want to get gas and get the fuck out of here. And this lady's gonna go through the whole roll of scratchers right after this.
Yeah, no, and then like whenever somebody comes in and they would they want to like cash in like 30 lottery tickets that are all like $1 or 2 winners or whatever.
Yeah, you know what I have done one time? The lady was, I want another. I was like, here's $20. Can I go in front of you? I don't care. You're not going to win more than that. You have 3 left, and I guarantee you're not winning any money. If you do, you can get it after I'm done. I just need to get gas and get the hell out of here. It's crazy.
before we go, I wanted to give my review, and I don't know if you saw this movie, because Dish Network is giving us like free HBO this week. And the movie, The Little Thing. Have you heard of it?
No.
It stars Denzel Washington and Rami Malek. It came out during the pandemic. The trailer made it look like it was going to be like a Seven ripoff, you know.
Okay.
And I watched it, but I was so let down by it. I really, really was.
So it's kind of one of those movies that it's good that the pandemic came because it got skirted under the rug, or do you think it really got pushed anyway?
I mean, it probably would have gotten pushed anyways because like Rami Malek is like an up and coming actor, okay, and then you got Denzel. You know, Denzel plays the small town sheriff, and Rami Malek is the lead detective in Los Angeles County. You know, it's like that old old dog, you know, once again, I mean, it was the formula that Seven had. That's why I thought it, because, you know, Denzel was the older. How old do you think Denzel is? Because I looked that up this morning when I was watching a movie.
I would say he's got to be late 50s, early 60s.
66 years old.
Damn. I guess it's true. Black don't crack.
but yeah, it just had the same setup, you know. Denzel was the older guy. You had the white cop, you know, teaming up together, the one that's new, you know.
Did you notice that Denzel basically plays Denzel in movies?
Yeah, he really, really does.
I like his acting, but he's just basically playing him. Go watch that movie where he has that hospital on lockdown because his kid needs a kidney.
Oh, John Q.
Yeah, and then go watch like the one where he's Book of
Eli.
Yeah, it's the same acting, basically.
His best movie, his best acting, in Fences.
Okay.
It had him, Viola Davis, in it. Like it must have the budget for the movie must have just all been on the acting, because it basically took place, the whole entire thing, at their home in the backyard. So the acting was really, really good in that movie. But still, one of my favorite Denzel movie. Remember the Titans?
Okay, yeah, everybody loved that movie. I mean, he's well, how could they not? He gives a good inspirational speech. Denzel.
What about Gettysburg?
Yeah, he was great in that too. I haven't seen that movie in a long time. I think that was one of the movies that I actually had to watch in school. I was talking to somebody about that the other day. I was like, man, we came in right at the beginning of teachers being really lazy and letting us watch a ton of movies. I remember in science class, we watched Dante's Peak. What the hell does that have to do with it?
They showed us the Holocaust movie that they did. And that one was, I was like, oh, really? I mean, I know this is real life and everything, but goddamn, do we in the 7th grade need to see Jews getting walked in to be gassed?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we had to watch Start the Revolution without me, which is one of the worst Gene Wilder movies ever. Nobody ever remembers that crappy ass movie. I as soon as it came on, I was like, oh shit, that's Gene Wilder from Willy Wonka and all this other, you know, all the stuff that he did with Richard Pryor. And then 10 minutes into it, I'm like, this movie is god awful.
Is that the best? Is that the best comedic duo of all time?
It's one of them, that's for sure. They had so many good movies, and I think they could have had some more too. But towards the tail end, it kind of ran its course. You know what I mean? I still think it would have been amazing if they would have let Richard Pryor play the Cleavon Little part in Blazing Saddles like he was supposed
to. Yeah. Oh man. God damn it. What I smoked a little bit beforehand, so I shouldn't have done that, and I completely forgot what I was going to say. Oh, but yeah, Richard Pryor did a whole thing about what was the oh, I know what I was going to say. Okay. It was on the other day. Me and my dad's favorite movies of all time. Did you ever watch Any Which Way You Can or Any Which Way But Loose with who's the cowboy? Clint Eastwood.
Yes, I believe so.
It was the one with the orangutan. He was the street fighter.
Okay, yes, I have seen that. I can see the cover of the VHS box in my head with him and the monkey.
Yeah, and he would always go right turn, Clyde, and the orangutan would like punch people out.
Was he a truck driver in that movie?
No, he was a bare knuckle brawler. His name was Fido Beto in the movie.
Jesus, that's a name.
Yeah, I know. But the only reason I brought that up, Clint Eastwood is probably doing one of his last movies because the guy is 92. Like every movie he does has got to be his last one. Like The Mule, I thought would have been his last one, but he's doing this one called Cry Macho, which it looks actually really, really good. The trailer came out this week.
Yeah, I saw that. He does. He looks, the same. I don't know how he's still moving and doesn't have problems. Like, he seems like when you get that age, everything would hurt.
I mean, still to this day, the best Clint Eastwood movie was Unforgiven.
I thought it was Paint Your Wagon, when he sung with.
Now that's another movie me and my dad would watch all the time. Remember where they got the idea about all the drunks dropping gold dust through the bottom of the bar floors?
Yeah,
and they dug a tunnel.
You like the tunnel because the bull got caught in it, and it was boring people. And the song when Ben Rumson gets married and they're parading him through town on that bed, and they're like, Ben Rumson would have saved a lot of money staying drunk and horny. Yeah, it was on the other day.
But think about that though. Like, what was that movie in the 60s or 70s? It got to be 70s.
Yeah.
Now that was a polygamy marriage though, almost, right? Because they were kind of like sharing the same woman, weren't they?
Yeah. Ben Rumson, the one guy, bought her, and then she ended up falling in love with Clint Eastwood, which, I mean, how could you not? It was young Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, dude. But like, I mean, they were both like, the old man is not going to be hitting it as much as he is. So
I don't think, I wouldn't think, I think that would actually probably be more of a common thing in the West, because you would think, the old man's not hitting it. He just wants 3 hots and a cot. And the young guy's probably not doing much of anything anyway. So he's just hitting and getting.
But so one last thing. I know we talk movies all the time. Blazing Saddles. Because we always talk about, like on TikTok, they were like, movie scenes that would not go over today. I mean, would Blazing Saddles probably be one of those movies that there's no way you could ever do that movie today?
Oh no, they'll do it, and it'll be the Cleavon Little part will be a white guy, and they'll go, the sheriff's whitey, or so, you know what I mean? And it'll be a whole reverse racism thing, because it's hate. We went from love everybody to everybody's fine except white people, which I don't understand where that changed. I never was like, hey, we need to anybody against anybody. But yeah, that's what they like to do now when they reboot stuff, is just take and put either minorities or people of color in it, when they should just focus on writing another good movie for minorities or people of color instead of rebooting stuff. Hollywood's so just fallen into this trap where it's like, oh, you know what? Let's not come up with anything except for superhero movies. That's why I freaking hate superhero movies, because it's like, we'll just dump all the money into that. Everything else we don't really put any money into.
But if you think
Game of Thrones, or unless it's got dragons or people being superheroes, 95% of America doesn't care, which is stupid.
But Blazing Saddles was an equal opportunity offender, though. Like it went after everybody. Do you remember the fight scene where they were doing the dancing? Like and that was making fun of gays at the time as well, too, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, it made fun of everybody in that. That's why Mel Brooks movies make fun of everybody, especially people.
Did he get away with it because he was a Jewish man?
Well, he was a small Jewish man. What are you going to do? Beat him up?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like, if anybody else besides a Jewish person could have done that movie.
Is he still alive?
I think he is.
He's got to be another one up there. I know his buddy died not too long. Didn't Carl Reiner die not too long?
Yeah, Reiner died. Yeah.
And they would eat all the time together, apparently.
Now,
watching that Seinfeld thing.
Now you're talking about Reiner, and that makes me think of All in the Family. Could you do? Well, they tried to do All in the Family again, but it just fell flat.
Yeah, they tried to do The Honeymooners again, and who went and saw that movie?
Yeah,
Nobody.
unless there is domestic violence being threatened on every episode.
Yeah,
where
and
you're gonna
not that anymore.
no. I need the man to threaten to punch the woman, straighten the kisser to the moon.
Yeah, you can't pow zoom right to the moon anymore. That's not acceptable. Not acceptable. Now, if a tranny beats you up or if a female beats up a male, that's acceptable. But if a male hits anybody, which, I mean, it's just so, not that that should be glamorized anyway, but it's just the little things that, in movies or in stuff like that, that you're just like, oh yeah, that'll never happen again.
There'll be
a lot of stuff that will never happen again because people get offended about anything.
Yeah, I would never do it, but like those two bitches that stole from me, like I would never do it, but like, back in the day it was more acceptable.
You would have given
them what I mean?
Receipt? Yeah, giving them a receipt.
Yeah, definitely. All day.
So
well,
did they now I gotta ask you before you wrap it up. Did they turn you off of to the lesbian persuasion then because these two floozies are running around bumping donuts, robbing people, leaving stuff in sheds? Just genuinely bad people. Apparently, at one time, she must have liked men because she has a kid that she's hiding out with. Who had a kid, said.
No, I never like once tried to make a move on them. It was just me.
I'm not even talking about that. I'm just saying in general. Are you just like now? Because when I lived up in Alaska, there was this lesbian chick that was up there, and she was nice to begin with. And then I just started noticing little things like she was a know-it-all. She would do stuff one time and then she knew how to do it for everybody. So then it started being where I didn't really care for her and I didn't want to talk to her anymore. Fast forward a couple months later, I'm working one night and this guy from Canada was hitting on her. And instead of being like, I'm a lesbian or whatever, turn it down, that she turns around and gives the guy an earful and is pushing the guy. So finally this one dude comes up and tries to get in his face. He turns around and hits this dude, the guy from Canada. This chick grabs a bar glass, smashes it over the dude's head. And it was like that Chris Farley sketch when they're banging him on the head with the pan and he's not going down. This guy just turns around, hits her. She flies backwards, like at least a good 5 feet backwards into a wall, dude. It was the greatest thing I ever, not that I wanted to see her get hit, but seeing her get knocked out was very satisfying. Then the next day when I go to deliver a pizza to her house, she's like, oh, you didn't hear? Some guy totally turned around and cheap shot at me. I'm like, whoa, I didn't hear anything about that, giving her the pizza. And I was like, yeah, I saw exactly what happened. And that's not what happened. I was like, but you might want to put some ice on that. It's starting to swell up.
Me and Dad used to watch that show, Life Below Zero. You ever watch that show?
I've seen it, yes.
Well, there's this real, just like hefty, like woman, but like she lives out there on her own. I'm not trying to stereotype. Maybe she is into dudes, but my dad was like, yeah, if I was going to be living out in the wilderness, that would be the type of woman I'd want,
Yeah, somebody that's going to get business done. You don't want to bring some little frilly person that wants to dress up and stuff. It's funny when you see, even around here, where you see these people that go glamping or whatever, glam camping, and you're like, dude, that's not even camping. I've slept on I've gone camping where it's not even camping really. You're like, dude, you're just sleeping on the ground. Did you even bring anything?
Yeah, I've slept in some very horrible situations. Well, Charlie, tell people about your YouTube channel as well as your Twitter account.
Yes, it's all on the Twitter account at Real Lame Charlie. I'm going to start putting new videos up. I filmed them. I just got to edit them. So new content going up. I hopefully am going to start doing podcasts more regularly now that I got a job at night so I can do stuff during the day. So yeah, more stuff coming down. So if you just want to follow at Real Lame Charlie and at Tuttle, follow him too. He retweets a lot of my stuff.
All right, Charlie. Well, I hope you have a wonderful day and I appreciate you joining me. Okay.
Yep. Thank you for having me on, Tuttle.
All right, man.
And that's the show for today. Thanks for listening to the Tuttle Daily Podcast. Hey, don't be a dickhead. Do us a favor. Like, share, and subscribe to the show. Also, check out the Tuttle category at 315live.com. The Tuttle Daily Podcast is brought to you by Starfire Transport, StitchYouUp.com, and PocketPairClub.com. Special thanks to show producer Vulture and co-host Sirach. Show voiceover services brought to you by JCVoiceover.com and The Little Cheese Show. Download and subscribe to The Little Cheese Show everywhere podcasts are found. If you want to help support the show, go to paypal.me/TuttleOnTheRadio. You have something you want to say? Tuttle@gmail.com or leave a voicemail at 407-270-3044. To follow all Tuttle social media, go to Tuttle.net. That's Tuttle with 2Ds.net. Thanks again for all your support, and we'll see you tomorrow on the Tuttle Daily Podcast.
I get ignorant in normal situations.
What? What you mean?
What the fuck you mean?
What are you talking about?
Nigga, what the fuck is you talking about?
Oh, shit!